Hello and welcome back to the AGF Design Studio channel. My name's Alana and I'm a freelance lettering artist based in Brooklyn, New York, where I run my business AGF Design Studio. And today's video, as you might notice from the title, is going to be me reflecting on 10 lessons that I learned in my first year as a freelance lettering artist. Well, you may or may not know, January 1st of 2021, I quit my job as a graphic designer to become a full-time lettering artist. I just celebrated my first year anniversary for my business, so I figured it'd be a great time to make this video. My hope is that this brings some good insights to anyone who's pursuing art in any capacity, even if it's not full-time. So stick around. Lesson 1, introduce yourself. So when I say introduce yourself, I mean tell somebody, ideally on social media or some place where you could get the word spread out to a large amount of people, and tell them what you're doing. So when I launched my business on January 1st, I created this social media post on my Instagram that announced that I had quit my 9-to-5 job to start my own business, AGF Design Studio. So you should tell people who you are and what you're doing, because if you don't, how can they find you? How can they know what your aim is, and how can they know the ways that you can help them with your services? So yes, work on introducing yourself. Like I said, I did this in a social media post. I posted it on all of my social media channels. And that is just like the best first step that you can take. Just take that first step with saying, hello, I'm here and this is who I am, and you're already off on a great start. Lesson number 2, show and tell. So when I say show and tell, I mean, as artists, the way that we present ourselves is extremely important. So we should only be showing the work in our portfolios. If you use your social media profile as a portfolio like Instagram, you should only be showing the work that you actually want to get hired for / are really passionate about or interested in. So that doesn't mean that you can never show something that's just for fun or an exploration or something, but it does mean to be very mindful of that. Because if people see, oh, you're posting, let's say, greeting card designs, and you're doing a bunch of mock-ups and you're like, oh, this is what my idea for a greeting card design would be, and then they approach you for greeting cards and you're like, oh, I would never want to do a greeting card. You can see how that sort of sends a mixed message, right? So I have a whole video about how to showcase your work online that I'll link in the description box below. It's all about creating a portfolio and presenting your work in a way that's professional. Personal projects, they don't even have to be real projects for clients. They can just be you putting stuff out there. So like I said, you never know who's looking, you never know who's watching, so be intentional with the work that you put out there. Present it professionally and you'll be on your way. Lesson number 3, reach out. When I say reach out, I mean that you need to be contacting creative directors, art directors, senior designers, and brands that you want to get your work out in front of. When I started back in January of last year, I had zero clients on the books, but while I didn't have any clients on the books, I did have a strategy for outreach. What I ended up doing was I created a Excel spreadsheet, or you could use Google Sheets or whatever you like, and I started segmenting the sheet into categories. What are the projects that I want to take on? I want editorial, publishing, agencies, and brands. So for example, you're looking to do some lettering posts for social media for brands. So for example, I would go to LinkedIn and I would look for the social media manager for X, Y, and Z brand. And then I would use this browser extension called Hunter. The site is called Hunter.io. I'll link it in the description box below. But what this site does is it crawls web pages for email addresses. So even if you don't have the exact email address from their web crawl search, you can take your LinkedIn name and put 2 and 2 together, and I don't get a lot of bounce backs. In a cold email, for example, I would say, hello, so-and-so. My name is Alana Flowers. I'm a freelance lettering artist and designer based in Brooklyn, New York. And then I would insert something personal, like, I saw your latest social media campaign, and that was really, nice to see because of X, Y, and Z reasons. Show that you've done a little bit of research, show that you've been paying attention. And I will be honest, people don't get back to you sometimes. Like, a majority of the time, people don't get back to you. They don't know who you are. I get it. But I have also, on the other side, gotten really nice responses from people, have gotten projects this way, and have found success in that. So I still do it. I'm still doing it. Like, I'm never gonna stop cold email outreach probably, because, people are out there and you never know. You might be the person that they're looking for and they just don't know it yet. So start sending those emails. Lesson 4, expand your network. So this is a fun one because it's just about making friends. Because we are in a virtual world, a digital world, a lot of the networking that I do, especially also because of the pandemic, has been online. So I've sent, DMs to people just like asking questions. Don't be shy. A lot of this sort of circles back to a lot of the same principles, like don't be shy, just put yourself out there. And be as simple as leaving a comment on someone's Instagram post. Like, I'm so serious. If you admire someone's work, let them know. And maybe they'll follow you back and they'll start commenting on your stuff, especially when you follow people who are similar to you. So it's like, I'm a lettering artist, I follow a lot of lettering artists. You already know that you have something in common. I feel like just over time, natural relationships form. And I've made a lot of great connections and peers through Instagram, through Twitter. You'd be surprised how easily relationships can form. Just start surrounding yourself with people who have things in common with you, who are creative in some way, if that's what you're trying to attract. It takes, a little bit of effort, but it's not that much effort to leave a comment on someone's Instagram post, especially if you really like it, right? Lesson number 5, become money-minded. We need to be thinking about money. So I have some great resources that I have been using as a freelance lettering artist. Some of these resources can also apply to other fields of art like illustration, graphic design a little bit, but a lot of the resources that I use have been from fellow lettering artists. But one thing that everyone can use and should have in their library is this book in their library. The Handbook of Pricing and Ethical Guidelines by the Graphic Artists Guild. This is the latest edition. This is the 16th edition. And I go to this book all the time because I still am getting project inquiries that sometimes I don't know how to price. So I really recommend this book, and I'll be linking it in the description box below. But also, as a freelance lettering artist, I have used Dark Art of Pricing by lettering artist and author Jessica Hish. She put that together because she knows that it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, unless someone tells you, unless another artist can tell you from their experience, we kind of don't know what each other is doing. She has been in the industry for a long time and has done a wide gamut of projects. So she has a really bulky portfolio with really great clients. So she has a lot of experience to draw from. I've also used a resource called Price with Purpose. This is by Lumiere, now called Good Type. They put together this PDF. It's like 40 pages or something. And they're literally price breakdowns from fellow artists for certain projects that they've taken on. So they give you the whole creative brief. They give you what the client's budget was. Did they negotiate? So they give you a nice breakdown, and these are actual case studies of people's projects. I also took a freelance course called Leap Now, which is by Martina Floor. She's a lettering artist, which is 99% of why I took it. So she did a whole module on pricing. She also allows you to do the formulations for yourself, and she gives you, the kinds of information that you need to be able to calculate, your day rate, your hourly rate. If you are a lettering artist especially, I highly recommend it. Another great resource that I have for my fellow lettering artists out there is called The Little Lettering Pricing Handbook by Molly Jakes. And it's marked as the 2019 edition, but I still find it extremely helpful because it is very comprehensive in the kinds of jobs that it breaks down. So it does like editorial, publishing, all of that to say, I hope that all of these resources that I mentioned are very helpful to you guys. I'm really pleased with how these resources have helped me, and I hope that they help you guys too. Lesson number 6, invest in yourself. When I say invest in yourself, I mean we should be going to conferences and workshops and just creative meetups and gatherings where we can get information, learn something. You know, I have fun when I do my client projects and my work and stuff, but it's still work. So when I get to do, you know, events and like do little virtual meetups, like a lot of them have been virtual now, it's really helpful and really nice to be surrounded by, you know, other people who are into lettering, who are nerdy about type the way that I am. And I've learned so much in the past year. I haven't taken as many workshops and gone to as many like conferences and meetups and stuff as I have in the past year and like my whole life. Please note that investing in yourself doesn't always have to be with money. A lot of these meetups are free. All you have to do is put in your email and register, and it's a Zoom link. Like, there are a lot of organizations like Type Thursday, Ladies Wine and Design, is similar to Type Thursday in that there are a bunch of local chapters. So even internationally, so even if you're not in the United States, you can probably find a local chapter. And if you can't, you could be the one to start it. So it's just a matter of kind of knowing where to look and just, you know, just do a little Google searching, and it'll just be like a lot of fun. I'll link some of my favorites in the description box below. Lesson number 7. Your time has value. As freelancers, it's easy to just not take breaks and to just be so a part of that hustle mentality that you forget. Just like, you know, my time management, the way that I spend my time should get better, not worse. One of my main motivations for going freelance was because I didn't like that I didn't have as much control over my time. I wanted more flexibility. I wanted more time to spend with my family and friends. I wanted more time to myself to work on creative projects. I wanted more freedom, more time. So if we're working ourselves to the bone and burning ourselves out, you're taking away all that precious time that you could be spending resting, recuperating, recharging your creative juices so that you don't run out of steam. So don't spend too much time working. If you don't like the way you're using your time, switch it up. A way that you can get yourself organized, you can use project managers. I like to use Asana, and I like to use Notion, and I like to use GoodNotes to make sure that my time is being, you know, used in a way that is efficient. So take care of yourself. Lesson number 8, read your contracts. Let me preface this with, this is not legal advice. This is not official legal advice. Go to a lawyer. Go to a lawyer friend that you might have. Seek official legal advice if you so choose. This is just my opinion and what I've done personally. What reading your contracts comes down to is you are responsible for what you sign. So if you don't understand something that you're reading in your contract, ask. AIGA has a great standard agreement for designers that they have on their website. You can just download it. And what that does is it breaks down the sections of a contract. You will usually get contracts in like the form of a PDF. Feel free to highlight a section of the contract and like ask verbatim, like, hey, what does this line specifically mean? There are a lot of clauses and things that get put into contracts that, if you're not careful, can risk you losing the rights to your work, risk you not being able to display work in your portfolio if you're signing a contract that has an NDA component. Certain things about exclusivity, how long do they have rights to use my work, in what forms can they use my work, for how long can they use my work, that are really important to understand as artists. So I will list a bunch of resources in the description box below that you guys can check out to help learn a little bit more about contracts. I took a greeting card course, also by Lumiere, because I wanted to get into art licensing, and I was able to do that successfully. And a part of that was learning common terms for licensing agreements. So it's a part of that, you know, exclusivity, what are the terms, what is an advance, what are royalties, and understanding what these things mean for us as artists so that we are not being exploited. At the end of the day, if you sign it, you're beholden to it. So we need to be mindful and as responsible as we can be. I mean, you can't help what you don't know, but if you don't know, we need to be asking questions. So read your contracts. Lesson number 9, no doesn't mean never. So remember when I talked about cold outreach before? And I said sometimes people don't reply. Sometimes they do reply, and sometimes they say no. or sometimes they don't agree with whatever you said. Like, it's just like, oh, can I have this? And they'll say no. And if you don't agree to do the project under whatever conditions, they just say, okay, bye. Or they ghost you. When someone says no to you, or your email goes unresponded to, maybe you share your rates with them and they don't reply. Trust me, I am such a delicate soul. I take everything to heart sometimes. But in the past year, I have learned that no doesn't mean never. It means a lot of things. Just say it in your head. They could have been busy. People are busy. You never know. So please don't see things going unreplied to or people rejecting you as an always and forever rejection, and I'll never be able to work with them and I'll never be able to send them another email. But it's not gonna all happen right away. Could you imagine how overwhelming that would be if everyone literally said yes to you? Eventually, you would have to say no to them, right? You can't take on too much. So sometimes you get a no, but it doesn't mean never. Don't get discouraged. Keep going. You are doing great. Lesson number 10, ask for what you want. This can be applied to a bunch of the lessons that I've already presented. So when I say ask for what you want, I mean that in terms of ask for the pricing that you want, ask for the projects that you want. And in asking for the projects that you want, I mean, it could be something as simple as me sending a tweet out to, my followers and being like, hey, I just finished up a really cool client project. I'm free right now to take on social media, book covers, art licensing projects for lettering. Here's my email contact. It could be that on LinkedIn as well. Like, being very intentional and specific about what it is that you want so that when people are thinking about, oh, I have a book cover project. I just remember seeing Alana saying she does book covers. So maybe I'll hit her up about that because I have a project that just came across my desk. And then asking for what you want is also about negotiating your project fees and your rates. I know we talked about money, but it never hurts to reiterate, as artists, it's, it can be really taboo for us maybe to talk about money. That means negotiating. So if you think that the figure that you've been presented with for a project is low, counter offer, like negotiate. Don't be afraid to say, thank you so much for your inquiry. I'd really like to talk about if we could actually do this project for this amount. That's a really tight deadline for me. Actually, my rates for a project like this are closer to this figure. Let me know what you think. Because if you don't negotiate, if you don't ask, you would never know what they would say yes to. And honestly, the worst thing they can say to you is no. So when we ask for what we want, we're giving ourselves a better chance to actually succeed and have the kind of fulfilling life creatively and professionally that we want. Ask for what you want, and you have a much better chance of receiving if you ask. Thank you so much for watching this video. Comment the word coins in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if this was helpful. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.